Hi gang, welcome to today's video, which is my 5 looks 2 palette video for February. And this month we are going to be using a combination of 2 of my favorite palettes from Natasha Denona, I Need a Nude and Retro. Now, why did I select these 2 palettes? Well, first off, let me say I love so many things about the I Need a Nude palette. The quality of the shadows is impeccable. There's some great new formulas in here. Things blend out seamlessly. The color story is pretty. You can really get a beautiful look. But notice I said a beautiful look, not so many beautiful looks. And that is why I selected Retro to complement this. I am hoping that through incorporating maybe even one shade from Retro, I can really mix things up and create some different looks. So I hope that sounds good to you and that you'll like this video and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know every time I have uploaded. And now let's get into that first look. Okay, for this first look, I am gonna start out with this great sort of warmer pinky shade here, and I'm gonna work that through the crease using my Rephr 27. I wanna blow this out pretty well, and I'm gonna start right in the crease and then work my way up, going all the way toward the bridge of my nose and extending out just a bit. Okay, so we've got that laid down as a start, and now I am going to take my Rephr 01 mini brush, and I am going to dip into this brown color. I'm going to tap that off a little bit, and now I'm going to tap that into the outer corner. I'm going to start lighter here because I can always go darker. And I am going up into the crease a bit here and just sort of feathering that in and kind of turning this Rephr brush towards the side a little bit so that I'm getting the width of the brush as I'm going through the crease because I want to get a nice soft blend there. And I know you're like, where's the Retro? Bring in the Retro. I'm going to. We're going to bring her in at the very end. Okay, now I want to add some shimmer. And this is one of the things about this I Need a Nude palette. So I am going to swatch 4 shades here that look like these great brown sort of shimmery shades, the deeper ones. And you can see just from my fingertips how close these look. Which is, like I said, part of the problem with this palette, except for this guy here, which is one of my favorite shades. But I don't want to go that deep today. So I think what I am going to do is I am going to select this shade and apply that from where I laid down that brown matte over. And I'm going to take that all the way into the inner corner because it's not very deep. That's a pretty light shade. Okay, I've got a little bit of fallout, nothing too serious. So here's where we are right now. And I'm just going to take my cloth here and try to brush away some of that shimmer that fell. Okay, and I do want to lighten up the inner corner just a bit. So I'm actually going to take a brush. This is a brush from the KJH Spectrum collection. And I am going to grab this shade here, pick some of that up. And I am going to just add a little bit to the inner corner and swoop that up a little bit. And I'm going to do the same over here, of course. I will say one of the great things about this palette is that if you just want to put together a really pretty look that's very quick, this palette is great for that. You know, you just aren't going to get a lot of different looks that are that way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my Endless Cacao pencil from Makeup Forever, nice and cool toned, to match this look. And I'm just running this along my lashes here, just in the outer portion a little bit. So now what I want to do is finally dip into Retro. So here's where I'm going to add a little bit more depth and a different color. If you're not familiar with Retro, there are these two shades here that are deeper. They're a little bit deceiving looking in the pan. I want to show you what's weird is that this one looks like it would be the deeper one, right? It looks like it's a deeper purple, but it's not. It's really more of a burgundy shade. And the one that looks sort of lighter here, in my opinion, is this deeper sort of purple shade. They both feel very creamy. I'm just gonna swatch both of those here on my palm. So you can see here how different they look, but this is the one that looks darker in the pan. So you do have to kind of check things like that out when you're working with some of these. I am going to take the deeper and darker shade on a smaller sort of pencil brush from that KJH Spectrum collection. I'm going to pick some of that up. And now I am just going to pat this into the outer corner, going all the way up to the crease, and then bringing that into the lash line at a diagonal. Now it matches my sweater. And now I'm going to take this same brush and just add a little bit of that on the lower lash line to the outer corner, just at the very edge. Okay, and now as one final step, I am going to go back to I Need a Nude into this beautiful center shadow here, which is one of these very wet looking shadows. And I am going to tap that into the center to really make that pop and add some more brightness there. It's possible this just went from day to night. That is where I am going to leave this right now. I am going to pop off camera, do a little bit of cleanup, add some mascara, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I did that cleanup, applied mascara, touched up blush and powder. And while I was going through that whole process, I couldn't help but wonder if I could have created this entire look just using the Retro palette. And I want to show you what I mean. I think that I could have possibly used this shade here in place of that first pinky shade from I Need a Nude. I'm going to swatch that and show it to you. Not exactly the same tone, but would you be able to tell on the eyes? Then I think that in the outer corner, I could have used one of these or a combination. So let me swatch both of those. Obviously, that deep brown looks very deep in the pan, but it is a cream to powder, which means it's going to go on probably lighter than you might think. Okay, so there's that deep brown that I showed you and the lighter one right beside it. So I think that could have gone in the outer corner. In terms of the center of the eyelid, I think I could have used this. Guys, I didn't know this when I did this look, okay? This just sort of came to me. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so this probably could have taken the place of the two shadows that I used on the center of the lid. Now there's nothing in here that's as light as what I put in the inner corner. The only thing, there are these two sort of pinky shades. Let's just sort of say so. Again, this one and this one. And I'll just swatch both of those for gigs. So one of them has more of a base than the other, but I don't know. I mean, really, if I kept one eye exactly how I did it, and then I did the other eye with these shades, you know, plus that really deep purple that I put in the outer corner, do you think you'd be able to tell the difference? I don't think so. I think I could have just used the Retro palette. Didn't know that when I started, like I said, but I think that's part of what makes this process fun, is sort of experimenting and realizing things like that. So I hope you enjoyed today's look, putting this together, and sort of my analysis on the back end. And stay tuned for look number 2. All right, guys, it is time to get into look number 2, which is the look that I have created here. And this is a lot more sort of elongated and cat-eyed than I traditionally create, but I really like how this look turned out. So now let's do it together. I am going to start off with 2 shadows from I Need a Nude. And first we're going to go in with this deep dark brown here. I wanted to start off with a really smoked out line as a base. And so I've got my Rephr 03, which is a pencil brush, and I am just gonna draw that all along the lash line. I am gonna cover all of this with shadow, so it does not have to be perfect. If you are following along, and of course any deep dark brown shadow that you have will work for this. I always have a hard time lining here at the front. It must be something about the way that my eyelashes stick up. So I'm just putting a little bit of that in. I am going to use a liquid eyeliner today as well, so we'll sharpen all of this up. I think that is good. And now what I'm going to do is pick up on my finger this shadow here. And these are so buttery that I have found I have a tendency to pick up too much and really dig in and sort of destroy my pan. And I'm trying to learn restraint. Just because it feels buttery does not mean I have to smush all the way in. Okay, so I've just picked up some of that on my finger, and now I am just going to tap that into the outer corner. And I am, since I'm using my finger, really working to be as precise as possible here. And because I've already done the rest of my makeup, we'll have to clean up any fallout. So I'm working that a little bit above the crease. So it's darkest at the base, and then just sort of tapping up to deal with my hooded shape, and coming out a little bit more at the outer edge there. So this is how we're looking now. And now I'm going to switch over to the Retro palette and pick up one of my favorite shimmers, and this one here. It's got a little bit of a pinky tone to it. So that is what that looks like. And now I am going to tap that into the center. Going over that first shade. I am, again, tapping it up into the crease a bit. I've got a cat crying outside my door. I don't know if you can hear that. Little cannot stand it when he is locked out of this room because he likes to hide under the bed. Hold on, let me let him in. Leave the door open for that little baby. Okay, so now I am going to use this shadow here in the inner corner, and this is a pink that has a little bit of a gold in it, so I'm going to blend that into that sort of rose gold shadow. Okay, and I do have a bit of fallout, as you can probably see. Yeah, those are some big flakes, but we'll take care of all of that. Okay, now I'm going to, just to brighten this up a little bit more, I am going to grab this other sort of pinky glittery shade. This has no base, or very little base to it. It certainly doesn't have that gold reflex. So I do want to just sort of put this right into the inner corner here, just to brighten that up a bit more. So now what I want to do is work on the lash line. First of all, I'm going to go back to this pencil brush that I had at first, and I am going to bring this underneath the lash line in the outer corner. I am going to grab this really wide flat liner brush from the KJH collection, and I am going to spray into my hand some MAC Fix Plus and dip that brush in. And now I'm going to go back into that darkest brown in I Need a Nude, and I'm just tapping into that. And now I'm going back to my lash line. That did not stamp that well, so let me grab, I'm going to grab another liner brush. God, this is a Sephora brush that I've had forever. It's just a angled liner brush. I'm going to go in here, pick up some of that brown, and work to sort of create that wing shape. And I'm going to take my finger and just sort of pull that a little bit. Wow, I really got some fallout that time. Hold, please. Now y'all know why I always do, if I'm just doing makeup for myself, my eyes first, because I am messy, okay? I cannot keep from getting fallout everywhere. I just can't. Now I'm going to grab this Beauty Pie felt style liner, and I'm just going to line the entire upper lash line. Even going in just a little bit there into the inner corner. And now I'm going to work on that wing shape a bit. Okay, I think that's good for now. I'm going to work on it a little bit more once I get mascara on, because I really use like the shape of my lashes or the direction of my lashes to create that wing from underneath. So let's grab mascara. Okay, so while I let my mascara set, I am going to do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm going to apply some eye cream first to get some moisture down before I reapply concealer and such. So I'll let that kind of set in for a minute. While it does, I'm gonna go back to that felt tip liner and pull my little eyelid up and get this in between the lashes. Now, as I said, out here, now that I can see my lashes, I almost pretend as if I'm drawing an additional lash on the end. I'm gonna reapply some concealer out here. I've got my Givenchy Prisma Libre concealer. I'm gonna do a little dot in here and out here. This is also gonna help sharpen this up and get the shape that we want. Gotta use this to get that little flick out there. I'm actually gonna go back in with that pencil brush. It doesn't have a lot of product on it now, so I'm not as worried about fallout dropping. But I wanna make sure I still have some of that depth in the outer corner on the bottom and that it connects up with the top lash line. Ooh, hold on, I think I've got a hair. I can't tell. Okay, I still can't tell. I do. Hold on. Okay. I am just going to grab a big powder brush and just sort of work all this together. This is a Refer 05. And that is the finished eye look for today. Wow. I am going to put on some lipstick here. I've got one of my Beauty Pie lipsticks. All right. So that is it for look number 2. I will have to put on my thinking cap for what I'm going to do for look number 3. I hope you've enjoyed this one and stay tuned. All right, let's get into look number 3, which I've decided is going to be the final look for this video because it has gotten a little bit long. You can see I've already created it over here. So now we'll just go through how I did that. I have to be careful holding up my retro palette because one of my favorite shades, which I'm going to use today, is falling apart. So I'm going to try to show you. This one here, okay, of course the names will be up here somewhere. I've already primed my eyes, just make sure I don't have any creasing. And I am just gonna start putting this through the crease. And working that up. And coming in towards my nose. I love this shade so much. And I'm gonna come down here a little bit, kind of in a V, towards my lash line. Okay, and then I am gonna grab, and this was a Refer 14, if I didn't mention that. I am gonna grab the Refer 02 brush, which is sort of a flat brush here, which is great for laying down color. And even though there is a really dark brown in Retro, it is the cream to powder formula, and I just prefer to work with the matte. So I am gonna grab this dark brown matte out of I Need a Nude, and I'm loading that up and packing that in at a diagonal. And I'm going to kind of tap it up into and above the crease just a bit, because I want to deepen up that crease a little and work into the shade Andy. Okay. And I'm going to take my brush on its side and run along the lower lash line. Okay, and I'm going to grab the first brush that I used that had Andy on it and blend those together a bit. Just soften that. I am going to apply a little bit more of this deep dark brown along the crease and angled up, just to make sure I keep that intensity there. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Retro and grab this shade here on my finger. And I'm going to focus more so on the outer half of my eyelid, including in this sort of little space up here that I had left somewhat empty. And I'm going to come down in a diagonal. So I want the majority of the intensity out here. And then I am going to tap this moving forward and up into the crease a bit with the tip of my finger. Okay, and now getting into the inner corner, I am like literally going back and forth and back and forth. I am going to grab this shade here out of I Need a Nude. It's hard to keep this straight. Put that on just sort of the tip of my finger and pop this into the inner corner and sort of swooping this up towards that mauve shade. Okay, and I have one more step. I'm going to go back to Retro, and on my pinky, I'm going to grab a little bit of this really bright shade here. It's sort of a pinkish white, and I'm going to put that on the tip of my pinky and just dot in just a little bit to get that really bright. Okay, so this is how we're looking right now. I am going to do mascara. Hold, please, wait. Endless Cacao, hello. Even though I did use some eyeshadow down here, I do want to line a little bit as well. And I can't help but go over here and do the same, even though I did it initially. So I am going to speed through mascara, so hold on to your hats. Okay, so I'm all done with mascara now, and I just want to do one more thing to sort of soften this look out, and that is to grab that pinky white shade that's in Retro, and I'm going to take a clean, this is, I believe, a Refer 13, and get some of that on there. And now I'm going to start right here underneath the brow bone, and then work down into that mauve shade. I want to soften this up just a touch. Okay, and I'm going to do the same over here. And I want to make sure that brown is softened out as well. So I'm going back to the brush that I have the mauve shade on. And I'm going to work that together a little bit as well. It is kind of hard. One thing I've struggled with in this video where I do one eye and like off camera and then the other eye on camera, I've struggled a bit to get them to look the same. I think it's a lot easier when you are actually doing your eyes at the same time. And now I am just going to take a Q-tip and do a little bit of cleanup underneath the eyes and make sure that things are shaped the way that I want them. Wow, I really did not have much of a problem with fallout today. I'm shocked after yesterday. Okay. And I'd already put concealer on, but I am going to just put a little dot on the back of my hand. And I am going to grab my BK Beauty brush if I can find it. Brushes aren't where they're supposed to be because I've separated all of my brushes into like clean and need to wash, and the need to wash pile is huge. So I had to place this in the need to wash even though I wasn't done. Okay, so I just basically worked a little bit of that into the bristles so that I wouldn't apply too much here. And I'm just cleaning up a little bit and using this to get this edge the way that I want it. I'm going to tap a little bit more in. And I'm just going to press this to make sure I don't have any excess that's going to cause creasing. So I'm going to kind of... Okay. And of course, I can't leave you guys without putting on some more blush. I'm using my Rare Beauty blush again. This is the same one I've been using throughout this video. The new Soft Pinch Matte Bouncy blush. Which I would highly recommend you pick up when they make it available. And I think it's March, late March. Okay, and let's get some lipstick on. I am going to use my Beauty Pie lipstick. Do, 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 do. Purposely messy looking. Okay. All right, gang, so that is it for this look and this video. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and that if you have both of these palettes, it has given you some ideas for looks or just inspired you to play. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.